Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. अंतराल श्रीमद् भागवत गीता की, श्री प्रभुपाद की, समवेत भक्तविंद की, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदी, हरि हरि बोल. I say Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. You repeat after me. Yeah? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, translated and accompanied by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Manor Prabhupada, the founder, Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Today's verse is text number 17, contents of the Gita summarized. (15, 16, 17). Okay. Avasini tu tad vidi. Avasinu tu tad vidi. Yena saramidam tatam. Yena saramidam tatam. Vinashan avyayasya na. Vinasya avyayasya. Kaschit kartum araham. Na kaschit kamana harati. Avasinu tad vidi. Avasa tu tad vidi. Yena saramidam tatam. Vinaksham avyayasam na. Vinasham avyayasam na. Kaschit karnam aharati. Kaschit kamanarati. Avasanu tad vidi. Yena saramidam tatam. Vinasham avyasasna. Kaschit kartam arati. Anyone to try? Abhishnasisu tad vidi. Yena saramidam tatam. Vinasham avyasya. Na kaschit kanamarati. Okay. Abhinasitu tad vidi. Enam saramidam tatam. Vinashanam avyasya. Na kaschit kartamarati. Anyone else? Okay. Word for word. Abhinasam. Abhinashi. Imperishable. To. But. Tat. That. Vidi. Know it. Yena. By whom. Sarvam. All over the body. Idam. This. Tatam. Pervaded. Vinasham. Destruction. Avyasya. Of the imperishable. Asya. Of it. Na kaschit. No one. Kartum. To do. Arati. Is able. Translation and power by Srila Prabhupada. That which pervades the entire body you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy this imperishable soul. So you can repeat after me. That which pervades the entire body. Okay. I'll go to Srila Prabhupada's purport. This verse more clearly explains the real nature of the soul, which is spread all over the body. Anyone can understand what is spread all over the body. It is consciousness. Everyone is conscious of the pains and pleasures of the body as a part, as a whole. The spreading of consciousness is limited within one's own body. The pains and pleasures of one body are known to another. Therefore, each and every body is an embodiment of the individual soul, and the symptom of the soul's presence is perceived as individual consciousness. This soul is described as 1/10,000 part of the upper portion of the hair point in size. The Satasvara Upanishad 5.9 confirms this. Balagra sata bhagasya sata dana kapitascha banga jivasha vijnasa chaitanya kapite. When the upper portion of the hair is divided into 100 parts, and again each of such parts is further divided into 100 parts, each such part is a measurement of the dimension of the spirit soul. Similarly, the same version is stated. Kasagra satabhagasya satanda sakudascha cha jivana shikshma sarupayam shiksham yano jakit kane. There are innumerable particles of spiritual atoms which are measured as 1/10,000 of a portion of the hair. Okay, so Prabhupada, in this purport, he goes into explaining the significance of the soul. And I'll break it down so we can go deeper into the studies. There are innumerable particles of spiritual atoms which are mentioned as 1/10,000 of a portion of the hair. Therefore, the individual particle of the spirit soul is a spiritual atom, smaller than the material atoms, and such atoms are innumerable. This very small spiritual spark is the basic principle of the material body. And the influence of such a spiritual spark is spread all over the body as the influence of an active principle of some medicine. Spreads throughout the body. This current of the spirit soul is felt all over the body as consciousness, and that is the proof of the presence of the soul. Any layman can understand that the material body minus consciousness is a dead body, and this consciousness cannot be revived in the body by any means of material administration. Therefore, the consciousness is not due to any amount of material combination, but due to the spirit soul. In the Mandaka Upanishad, the measurement of the atomic spirit soul is further explained. Eso no atma chatas vidyatya yasmin prana prachad savatāryaha pratāschastasmin sarva chenam papajanam yenam yasmin viditya eta atma. The soul is atomic in size and can be perceived by perfect intelligence. This atomic soul is floating in the 5 kinds of air, prana, apana, bayana, samana, and udana. It is situated within the heart, and it spreads its influence all over the body of the embodied living entities. When the soul is purified from the conscious contamination of the 5 kinds of material air, its spiritual influence is established. The hatha system is meant, the hatha yoga system is meant for controlling the airs of the body, 5 kinds of airs of the air circling the pure soul by different kinds of sitting postures, not by any material profit, but by liberation of the atomic soul from the entanglement of the material atmosphere. So the constitution of the atomic soul is admitted in all Vedic literatures, and is also actually felt in the practical experience of any sane man. Only the insane man can think of this atomic soul as all-pervading Vishnu Tattva. The influence of the atomic soul can be spread all over the particular body. According to Mandaka Upanishad, this atomic soul is situated in the heart of every living entity. And because the measurement of the atomic soul is beyond the power or appreciation of the material scientists, some of them assert foolishly that there is no soul. The individual atomic soul is definitely there in the heart along with the super soul. And thus all the energies of the body movement are emanating from this part of the body. The corpuscles which carry the oxygen from the lungs gather energy from the soul. When the soul passes away from this position, the activity of the blood generating function ceases. Medical science accepts the importance of the red corpuscles, but it cannot ascertain that the source of the energy is the soul. Medical science, however, does admit that the heart is the soul seat of the energies of the body. Such atomic particles of the spirit whole are compared to the sunshine molecules. In the sunshine, there are innumerable radiant molecules. Similarly, the fragmental parts of the Supreme Lord are atomic sparks of the rays of the Supreme Lord, called by the name Prabha, or superior energy. So whether one follows the Vedic knowledge or modern science, one cannot deny the existence of the spirit soul as a body in the body, and the science of the soul is explicitly described in Bhagavad Gita by the personality of Godhead himself. Om Agyanti Mandasya Gana Gana Salakaya Chakshul Militamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhistam Stapitamena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swabrantikam Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pasaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachayane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pascharchai Satayane. So, all religions, they actually believe that there is a higher life or reality from the life we live in this world. Like Jesus Christ said, what's the use of gaining all the world if you lose your immortal soul? And in the Quran it says there's a higher life in heaven than the earth. So every religion has this understanding that there's a higher life than this world, in this world. But the only thing is, those other scriptures are compared to like small dictionaries. The Bhagavad Gita is considered a big dictionary. Because the other scriptures are spoken by prophets. The Bhagavad Gita is spoken by God himself, Krishna himself. So, this was Srila Prabhupada's main challenge to the scientists. Srila Prabhupada challenged them that they say life comes from matter. The Prabhupada challenged them, life comes from life. So, Hamsadutta Prabhu, he was Maharaj at that time, and he challenged one scientist. He was saying he can make life from matter. So he challenged him, I'll give you $1 billion if you can make life from matter. And when he got there, this person didn't appear. He didn't come. So that shows people want to be cheated. Also, so there was an instance with Srila Shivaram Swami, before he became into Hare Krishna movement, he was going to school, and he told his teacher, he said, if someone can understand that life is coming from consciousness, they're not very intelligent. The teacher told him, so you're saying I'm not intelligent. So then he was asked to leave school. So that shows how there were this understanding about the Krishna being the cause of all causes. Super soul is just one of his expansions in everyone's heart. So Bhaktivedanta Manor, Bhaktivedanta Institute, and he went to the one program where all these scientists came, and all these Mayavadis, they were giving the different speeches. So Maharaj was sitting patiently, and there was another devotee who went. He was like getting a little disturbed. Maharaj said, just be patient. They were sitting, and Maharaj told the devotees, now chant the Hare Krishna Kirtan. So when they started the Kirtan, all these Mayavadis, they disappeared. So that shows the potency of the holy name, and it also shows the how the purity is the force. In a modern day society, they teach something which is not. They teach something which doesn't help you to connect to Krishna. They teach you something which is of mundane subjects, we don't help you benefit eternally. Srila Prabhupada commented that they teach you all these stories in schools, mundane stories, but actually these stories are just fairy tales. They're not real stories. The history is gone. But Prabhupada said, if someone reads Mahabharata, then he'll get all his emotions satisfied. Because Mahabharata deals with families, dynasties, kings, sages, deals with all these things, higher planets. So this shows how the Vedic scriptures, they have a more deeper history than the scriptures of other religions. Because the scriptures of other religions, they only came in certain time for a certain reason, to help a certain class of people. But the Vedic scriptures, they're eternally there, for all time. Like he said, the Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Lord Krishna to benefit the universe. So, Bhagavad Gita is not different from Krishna. If someone follows the teaching of Bhagavad Gita, then he can overcome all his difficulties. So to come to this point of understanding that you're not the body, you're soul, it requires some level of self-introspection. So, for example, Socrates was like a muni, he was like a great sage, where he studied things deeply. In his time in Greece, he was teaching his followers how you're not the body. So he would say, you point to your hand, say my hand, my leg, my head. But where is the eye? So he would analyze like that. But Srila Prabhupada explains this kind of approach takes many births. And Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, Bahunam jamyante jnanam prapadyante vasudam savisa mahamastu dulabha. after many births and deaths, one who understands who I am, understands that I am the cause of all causes. So, but if one directly accepts what Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, he can say many births. In this lifetime, one can achieve perfection. So, unfortunately, in material world, things become degraded in time. They become lost. Knowledge gets lost. But at all times, the true teachings are there. If one is sincere, then Krishna will guide one to the true teachers. In America, they say you can be a spiritualist, but you don't have to be a religionist. But the difficulty with that one is they don't accept the disciplined succession of spiritual masters. They try and approach it in their own way. So the living entities, we have 4 defects. We have tendency to cheat, make mistakes, be illusion, imperfect senses. So, be illusion, everyone is thinking they're the body, but they're not the body. They're soul. Making mistakes. A teacher is teaching in his university or college, but he's not really teaching the proper subjects, so he's not a true teacher. So in that sense, he's cheating. Making mistakes. He said even Gandhi was told not to go to the New Delhi meeting. He'll be killed, but he didn't listen. So like this, we can see how imperfect senses, like everyone seeing the sun, it's like a small ball. The sun is big, much bigger than the earth. So you can't conceive it with your eyes. You have to see through the eyes of scriptures. So to understand this subject on spiritual subjects, on the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, then Lord Chaitanya's teachings, one has to hear from the proper authorities. Just like people pay so much money to go to college, university to learn subjects. Why? To hear from proper authorities. They want to learn from some authorities. No one in this world can be a self-made teacher. Everyone has to have an authority. So, to understand that proper authority, everything comes down to one's sincerity. There are instances of this in the history of the world, how people became devotees just by having some sincerity. Like example can be given in one of the camps in some Muslim country, because in these camps they force you to break stones and they ask you to do menial services. So one of the boys, he was in his camp. He didn't, the security, they get heavy with you if you don't do what they tell you. They sort of shout at you and push you around. But this boy, he didn't speak anything, he just kept quiet. And the security thought there's something wrong with this boy. So what they did, they just let him go. As he left the camp, he met the devotees on the street chanting Hare Krishna, and he became a devotee. So that's an example to show that if you're introspective and you're looking for the truth, then Krishna will put you in touch with the proper truth. The Shishi Radha Gokulananda ki jai. So even in Russia, there was an instance with devotees. I think the KGB, they were giving a difficult time to the devotees. And the devotees doing the street chanting and giving books. But even though they were getting beaten by the police, the devotees didn't feel any pain. Somehow they were protected. So in the material world, you have to perceive Krishna within the heart. In the outside world, you have to do that. But obviously in a temple, we have to keep connection, so our purity can be maintained. So part of the purity is we rise early in the morning, Brahma Muhurta hours. So Prabhupada said no later than 4 o'clock. So we have to train ourselves like that, to do like that. Then in those times we do our chanting, our studying of scriptures, listening to the scriptures, association of devotees. Then from that we'll get to understand how we are not the body. The realization will come. So everything is based on association. Just like today I met some newcomers, they've been living in Elstree, and one of them got married here. And they were following the Jain religion, so they do a lot of fasting. So I was preaching to them about Krishna consciousness, about Lord Chaitanya, chanting of Hare Krishna. And they were open to take to it. So Krishna consciousness is applicable to everybody. So in the material world, if you don't achieve 100% success in your work, examination, sometimes you lose all the marks. But in Krishna consciousness, even if you don't achieve perfection, the marks you get is 100%. So Srila Prabhupada gives an example. He says, just like to be a judge is not easy. It takes a lot of work to be a judge. But if someone becomes a devotee, then Krishna puts him in a position of a judge, and then he gives him all the qualifications. So that's Krishna's mercy. That he's very... Krishna reciprocates with a devotee according to the surrender of that devotee. And also Krishna created the material world in a way to teach us this is not our home. And no matter how much you try and be comfortable, there will be disturbances. So the material world is considered like a place of disaster. There's always disasters here. No matter how much you try and make yourself comfortable, there's always disturbances. So the more we understand this science about how we are not the body and we are soul, and that to that degree we can connect to Krishna. But there are people in this world, yogis, jnanis, their goal is just to understand that they're not the body, they're soul. They don't have much connection with Krishna. So Prabhupada explains, there's a book called Surrender Unto Me. He's given more detail in this Purijan Prabhu. He explains further on this topic of Prabhupada's 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. He says, for those who are endeavoring on that path like this, then they'll go to the Brahman. So, the example of going to the Brahman is, Srila Prabhupada explains it. He says, just like if you're sitting in the chair by yourself, you may get some peace and quietness. You may get some less disturbance. But how long can you sit on the chair by yourself for? There's a limit. So going to the Brahman is like that, you're just by yourself. So the higher understanding is you have to connect with Krishna. So there's another example Srila Prabhupada gives. He says, just like say someone gave you a nice house with all the opulences, but the condition is you have to be by yourself in that house, no association. Who would accept it? No one accept it. Huh? Yeah. So the point is, going to the Brahman is like that, you're by yourself. You can't stay there eternally. You have to come back here. So if you connect to Krishna, then the connection becomes eternal. Then you get the full happiness. So Lord Chaitanya showed in his own example when he was present 520 years back on the earth planet when he was preaching in India. He showed by his own example. This is why he took sannyas. Is that the Mayavadis are the hardest people to convert because they have this goal of entering into Brahman. And they do a lot of austerities also in their life. They do so much austerities. But then Prabhupada comments, if these people become devotees, then they'll become very advanced because of the austerities what they've done. So, unfortunately, the modern day Hinduism is also affected by Mayavad philosophy. Because they say all God are one. Right? They say like that. But it's not like that. Just like in a government, there's one government, there's many ministers. So God is one, Krishna, but he has many ministers, demigods. So there was an example of this point about understanding why you're not the body. Now, we may take it lightly, but in New York there was an instance with one fat lady, she was very big. And Jayadvaita Maharaj was speaking, one of our Maharajis was speaking about you're not the body, your soul. Our body is temporary, birth, death, old age, disease. But soul never dies, it's eternal. So once this lady heard this, she became very happy. Because she was fed up with her big body, she didn't like her body. She understood, if I'm not the body, at least I'm got some higher destination which I'm going to. I'm not stuck in this miserable body. So to understand this, one has to associate with those who are practicing this path. So association is very important. Prabhupada gives an example. He says, if someone's got tuberculosis and they drink water and you drink that water, you get tuberculosis. And Srila Prabhupada asked the question that how can you become advanced devotees? So Prabhupada gives an example. He said, if you associate with drunkards, you become a drunkard. If you associate with devotees, then you become a devotee. So, uh, so the understanding is one has to associate with advanced devotees, those who are aspiring to be advanced. Because Narottam Das Thakur, he says, one should avoid jnanis, yogis, thagis and mixed devotees. But there are also many mixed devotees who have their own agendas they want to fulfill. They're not willing to fulfill Krishna's plan, but they want to fulfill their own plan. So it takes a long time for them to get purified. But if you associate with advanced devotee, then by their mercy you can become advanced. And Vidura was glorified for that. Vidura went, in the Mahabharata, he says, when Duryodhana humiliated Vidura, saying, you should live with your breath. He kicked him out of the kingdom. So Vidura is coming back, and Yudhishthira Maharaj is telling Vidura that you don't need to go to any holy place. You make the holy place. So the Krishna consciousness movement, the goal is to create many Viduras who can create holy places. So Srila Prabhupada gave them how to do it. Prabhupada said, even if you know Bhagavad Gita fully, you know all the verses, you're very scholarly, but if you're not chanting Hare Krishna, you get no benefit of understanding Bhagavad Gita. Benefit is not so much. But if you chant Hare Krishna and you read Bhagavad Gita, then advancement will be very fast. Because you're connecting to Krishna through the holy name. And you're understanding that association of scripture helps, because then you understand how to give it to others. And this Krishna consciousness is a dynamic thing. It's not static, it's dynamic. So as you practice Krishna consciousness, you find how Krishna is reciprocating with you. In different situations, you find how he's trying to connect you to him, how he's trying to help you to come closer to him. So that can only be done if we get the training from devotees. Devotees will train us how to come to that platform. So Krishna consciousness is not like people work outside, they do a little yoga on the side and do some charity. It's not like that. Krishna consciousness is the highest thing. By practicing it, you can go back to God in this lifetime. No more suffering. Any questions or comments? You can get it from there. You can take this one.
Yeah, I just checked.
You mentioned that Sadhu said to avoid jnanis, yogis.
Narottam Das Thakur is saying, jnanis, yogis.
Yogis find it peaceful. I think have something to learn from them.
No.
Not direct association, but just because of the austerity, this kind of.
Well, the thing is, if you go to Kumbh Mela, you have to be very careful. Because yogis can mess you up. They can mess up your life. You have to be very careful how you deal with them.
Some yogis who are renunciates, they go to the secluded place and they don't really mingle so much, but they're in absorption or meditation, whatever they do, and perform extraordinary penances.
Yeah, but not all. Some.
That's true. Yeah.
Not all.
But there are some who are very, very peaceful.
Like I'll give you an example. Parshuram was on, he was on Kumbh Mela somewhere, some years back. He was on Kumbh Mela some years back, and for 9 days, people waited for the yogi to come out because he was in samadhi. So the devotees were doing kirtan in the area, and the yogi came out of samadhi after 9 days. And the yogi told all these people who were waiting for him, you should buy books of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Just see. So there are a few rare ones, not all. Not all. So, yeah. Okay.
Very nicely says that the yogis, they are meditating. The yogis have one purpose. The purpose is they realize God within themselves. It takes them very long. They really have to sit in a secluded place and their back erect, sit not too high, not too low, and then meditating, controlling their senses. For what? To go to the other planetary system.
Okay.
Right? But for us, when devotees, we go on the road, we chant. Why? Why? We want everybody to hear the holy names, so that they get attracted to Krishna. But those yogis, they live for themselves. They don't care for others. And once they go to other planetary system, what happens? They get to the Brahman. We know there are three aspects of the Lord. There is Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Brahman is a kind of a pole, is a sun. The sun disk and the sun rays. The sun rays is nothing. They come back again into the world after lifetime and lifetime. But as a devotee, when we take the Krishna consciousness, when we practice sincerely, we go to Golok Vrindavan, we don't come back here. And we know that 8.4 million species of life. And we roam in all the species of life. For what? To come back again. Go again. Birth, old age, disease, and death. That's a cycle that goes round and round. And then, but when we start practicing chant, we practice devotional service to the Lord, then we get liberation. That is true liberation. Yogis, they don't get liberation.
Actually, there was one yogi in the time of Kumbh Mela. I think a big Kumbh Mela happens every 144 years. Biggest Mahakumbh Mela. So Prabhupada was there at that time. And in those times, no one could go and see Srila Prabhupada so easy because the Western devotees were very strict that they wouldn't allow anyone into Prabhupada to see him. Very strict security. So the yogi came and he asked the devotees, can I go and see your leader? I want to see your leader. So they wouldn't allow him. So he just got in. He had mystic, he just got in. And he spoke to Srila Prabhupada. Then he came out and he told the devotees, you don't know how fortunate you are to have someone like Srila Prabhupada. He said, out of this Kumbh Mela, out of all these millions of people, yogis, he's the most advanced.
Because he has realized Krishna.
Yeah, this is the point. That's it.
And as we said, in the government, there is one head and then so many ministers.
Yeah,
Krishna is a supreme head.
yeah.
But who knows? People are going to all his ministers to get whatever they want, material opulences. And then once they get all these material opulences exhausted, what do? They go back again. They ask for, I want this, I want that, I want it. They come back again. Krishna, we don't ask. He gives. He protects us. And he carry what we give. And he says I will do that.
Yeah.
Yeah? He says, I carry what you have and I give you what you need. I provide. Krishna gives everything. He gives the sun, the rain, the moon, the air. People take it for granted because it's there. If we know what is the meaning of all these things, then we start thinking of Krishna.
Correct. Any other points? Okay. Well, in a situation like that, you have to be in touch with some devotees who keep you strong. That's it. And then you have to be the good association for your friends. There was a devotee, he was doing that. He used to go to university, but he always kept as a principle to do his rounds, 16 rounds. He kept in touch with devotees occasionally. And in this way, he found he passed his studies. Yeah.
Srila Prabhupada said, you go to university, you have your degrees, and then you use it and you go to study the scriptures also. Not only, you have to earn a living, you are living this material world. You have to have food, you have to have means of transport, you have to have a house, which is a necessity of life. But alongside with those things, you practice your spiritual life also. That should be our motto in life. Don't forget the Father. Don't enjoy all these opulences and forget Him. No, that's not right.
Antarajima Bhagavad Gita ki, nearly time.
Playing drums. So loud. He's playing drums. Yeah. Do you want to play some? You play drums? Wait, I'll just play it. Do you play drums? You play drums? No, play this one. Okay, I want to. Over to the front. You play basic, right? Play. Not that big. Just play. That's how you live. Hare Krishna.
The lyrics should be up there. Oh, 7 o'clock. Yeah. Ah, yeah. They will come. No, we have to. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Big man.
Oh, we don't start from. We start from this or we start from.
I have. That's why you played the day last week. We played for some time.
And then when the curtain opens, then Sri Radha and then Ki Bajaya.
No, the wrong lyrics.
Jaya Radha Gokulanand Radha Gokulanand Radhe